Hello, good evening. We are Francisco Lara and Armando Blacayer, and today we will be presenting about the Amparo Directo 34 of 2024, where Luis Miguel del Llano Macedo and versus Sasha Sokol. The facts of the case begin when Luis Miguel del Llano Macedo, who is a musical producer, mentioned in an interview that he had a sexual relationship with Sasha Sokol, who was a member of an 80s musical group. At the time of that relationship, Sasha Sokol was 14 years old and Miguel del Llano was 40. Sokol responded to the statements made by Del Llano on social media, and subsequently she filed for a lawsuit. The lawsuit was asking for the compensation for the intrusion to her private life and the repayment through moral damage, as well as the repayment of moral damage caused by sexual abuse.
Well, well, about the procedural history in this case, by first, on May 8, 2023, the trial court rooted on the case filed by Sasha Sokol against Luis Miguel del Llano Macedo, ordering Luis to pay for the moral damage caused by the public statements he made in the interview. However, the plaintiff wasn't fully satisfied because the court hadn't addressed the moral damage resulting from the sexual abuse. So she filed an appeal, and on September 26, 2023, the Seventh Civil Chamber of the Superior Court of Justice of Mexico City sided with her and changed the original judgment, holding Luis responsible for the moral damage caused to Sasha as a result of the sexual abuse. Not happy with this outcome, Luis then filed a direct amparo lawsuit to challenge this decision. Now, about the issue in this case, the issue is did the Seventh Civil Chamber of Superior Court of Justice of Mexico City make a mistake in ruling in favor of the plaintiff, even though the prescriptive period of the crime has passed?
Now, considering the facts and the holding gave by the first chamber of the Supreme Court of Justice was that it ruled out that sexual and emotional relationships with a significant gap of age can be considered an illicit act. This is due because it is determined as a relationship with a form of sexual violence, and the court found sufficient grounds for the reparation of that moral damage that Sasha Sokol was asking for. Considering the pre-existing rules, in Article 1934 of the Civil Code of Mexico City, it establishes the statutes of limitations for filing claims. Now, it was determined by the Supreme Court of Justice that these statutes of limitations are go against human rights, and this was done throughout the reasoning, where it says that the statutes of limitations were found to prevent minors from accessing effective judicial protection, and the court reasoned that such a limitation allows human rights violations to go unclarified, uninvestigated, and unpunished. It was also determined that the statutes of limitation prevented Sokol from exercising her right to a full reparation of moral damage.
Well, and finally, our comments. We believe the Supreme Court is absolutely right in creating jurisprudence here in this case, because moral damage caused by sexual violence against minors should never expire. Why? Because this kind of abuse leaves consequences that can last for a lifetime. On top of that, the psychological and moral harm often makes it extremely difficult for survivors to speak up, report the crime, or even file a lawsuit for compensation, sometimes not until they are well into adulthood.
Thank you.